Minnesota Roller Derby All-Stars taking on the Texas Rollergirls Texecutioners. And I am Rainbow Spite. I am joined this game by
Reverend Killjoy, my first game of the weekend, and I think I remember how roller derby works.
I hope so, because
Are the rules the same here in Hopkins?
the rules are the same here in Hopkins as they are at the legendary Roy Wilkins Auditorium.
Excellent. Excellent. We
Looks like we're getting ready to get started. I can already tell you we've got Texecutioners jamming for Minnesota. And that is, let's see, that is Haas the Boss on the line for Texas.
I like that Texecutioner almost rhymes with Texecutioners. Like it's close.
It's
but
close.
Not quite. Anyway. Lexi's got one blocker to beat and does so. Lead jammer here for Minnesota as a Texas pivot goes to the box.
That is Peace War.
Thank you, Spite.
Texecutioner with the hop nets 4 points for Minnesota.
That was a nice quick four, and we do have another scoring pass here for Haas the Boss, or an initial scoring pass for Haas, as Lexi gets some points and calls off the jam 3 on that pass.
Oh, correction, that was 4 points on the last pass for Texecutioner, bringing the total to 8. Texas held scoreless. Jamming for Texas, we've got Tropical Mechanica taking on Centripetal Force from Minnesota. Centripetal Force recycling to the rear of the pack. And Tropical Mechanica is lead jammer.
Excellent job there by Tropical Mechanica with a little inside-out move to get 4 points untouched.
KTX the last to beat, and Minnesota gets past on the initial.
Tropical Mechanica calling off the jam from the track on her back. 2 points on that pass for Texas. So 8-6 after 2 jams.
I see erstwhile announcer Chip a Tooth on the line taking on impact play. Oh, excuse me, that's Mayhem West. Chip a Tooth with 1 to beat at the top of the track. Chip a Tooth does it, takes lead jammer.
You know, Chip was concerned coming into this season that she wasn't going to be able to skate with the All-Stars this year. So busy with school and work and so many things going on in life. And I am very glad that Chip was a liar and was wrong and is, in fact, out here rocking out for the Minnesota All-Stars.
There was a star pass to Peace War for Texas. 4 points up for Peace War. Peace War also a jammer blocker pivot for Fuego Latina. 1 more point for Minnesota on that pass. Haas the Boss up once more for Texas.
That is Anaconda jamming for Minnesota.
Like to say hello to Neutralizer on the Twitch feed.
Haas found an outside line and raced around to get lead for Texas on this one.
Haas the Boss with a nifty spin inside out move and the call off. 4 points go up for Haas the Boss.
Yep, and Anaconda was into the pack but scored no points. Great job by the other Texas blockers being aware and avoiding being scored on. Looks like we've got impact play on the jam line for Texas and Lefse for Dead on the line for Minnesota.
Impact play to the outside line does not avail. Has to cycle back. Lefse at the front. Lefse for Dead picking up a penalty. Power Jam Texas.
That was a track cut call we see from our jam ref, Joss. And now Minnesota's got a blocker headed to the box. That is brutal.
Lead jammer has been declared and it went to Texas. Impact play now in scoring position.
Texas with the classic power jam offensive, lining up outside on a corner, getting the jammer by, and then running through and muddying up the pack. Although Minnesota did a great job reforming that pack and getting a triangle out of it to slow down impact play.
That was an impressive catch and kill on impact play there.
Absolutely.
Lefse for Dead back in the fray, tangling with Peace War. 9 lives the last to beat. Lefse for Dead clear on the initial. The call off by Texas. No points for Minnesota, 4 points for Texas. That is our first lead change of the game there, Rev.
Indeed, we do have Texas out front, a well-contested sporting event thus far.
Thus far, very good. It's the story of a good play. We've got number 187 up there for Minnesota. That's Texecutioners taking on number 48. That is Spread Eagle.
Spread Eagle forced to recycle right away, and that put Lexi up front, and indeed does get lead, just racing and stretching out the pack too far for Texas to continue blocking. And Lexi quickly around.
Minnesota blocker taking a seat in the penalty box. KTX on the head of the block there for Texecutioners. KTX, a former Houston player. Moved to Austin, playing very well for Texas.
Absolutely. That was a great way to stretch the pack as long as they could. They could slow down Lexi. Couldn't stop her, but could slow her down significantly. And there's the star pass to Olivia Shootin' of Texas.
Call off by Texecutioners. 2 points up for Minnesota.
And the lead has changed back.
How the tides have turned, but it is a 1 point game.
You know, in the big picture, seeing, or in our case, announcing a 1 point game between Minnesota All-Stars and the Texecutioners at any point in the last 25 years, or I guess 21 years, is pretty awesome. I'm just going to say.
It's an experience to behold, for sure.
That's right, that's right.
And Haas the Boss wearing the star once more for Texas. That is
Centripetal Force.
Centripetal Force for Minnesota. I'm still learning our home team here in Minnesota.
That's right.
Because I came from Texas, so I know these people more than I know those people.
Well, I am glad we're here together, and I also don't necessarily know everybody's names and numbers. Shh. Don't tell anybody.
That's why we have rosters.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, look at it. Centripetal Force out in front and takes lead jammer. Haas the Boss with the star stash gets through the pack on the initial.
Yep. And we have a couple of Minnesota blockers headed to the penalty box.
Bump, bump. Haas the Boss on the inside line. Haas the Boss through for 4 points. You don't have to be the lead jammer to be the jammer in the lead. Four more points up for Haas the Boss. So Triple Force calls off the jam, but not before putting up a few points of her own.
So the list is 6, Minnesota 19.
23. The scoreboard has
23
not yet
now.
updated.
Okay,
There we
it did
go.
get updated. My timing was excellent as usual.
Oh, yes.
I see Tropical Mechanica at the line for Texas and Chip a Tooth up for Minnesota.
Correct.
Texas has, I believe, a pivot in the penalty box to start this one off.
Blocker advantage to Minnesota. Let's see if Chip a Tooth can take advantage.
So far, this one's been all blockers, although now we've got a track cut on Texas Jammer. That makes this a power jam for Chip a Tooth, but the triangle of Texas blockers doing a fantastic job slowing Chip down until just now lead Minnesota.
There's that great timing once more.
If I say it, it won't affect what happens, but it'll at least make it more entertaining when I'm wrong.
It's like cheering at your TV when you're watching a different sport.
Yeah, yeah.
Chip a Tooth at the head of the pack. KTX going to have to let her go. Chip picking up her points for Chip. Tropica Mechanica back on the track. Oh, picking up another track cut call. Another, yet more power jam for Chip. That is an impressive tripod up at the front of Texas players, just holding Chip back. Chip with some tenacious jam work there. Goes out on the outside line. Four points go up for Chip. Yet another lead change in favor of Minnesota.
It's a good thing we're not playing by the classic rules on these microphones,
Oh,
or all these lead changes might cause us some trouble.
that's true. My classic rule bottle is right here. It's full of good old-fashioned H2O. Because I like to hydrate, not dihydrate.
Absolutely. We do have a timeout here being called by Texas. This timeout brought to you by the great sport of roller derby.
That's
it's all
right.
around the world. It's women, men, and people of every gender. It's young people. It's adults. It's for you and me.
And for everybody in between.
Everybody. It's a sport for everybody.
We're not quite back to the action. I've been saying every game this go around that if you will recall, the collective term for a group of zebras is a dazzle.
A dazzle of zebras.
A dazzle of zebras.
That is fun.
Yes, it's a fact taught to me by Johnny Pepper, and I never let him forget it.
Excellent.
And I never let anybody else forget it either.
Good.
Thank you to our track maintenance crew. Texecutioners wearing the star from Minnesota in this Power Start Tropical Mechanica in the box, but standing.
Which means that there's less than 10 seconds left in the penalty, correct?
Less than 10 seconds in this
Excellent.
Power Start.
Okay.
And that is a fast pack, folks. Texecutioners with one to beat. And Texecutioners picks up lead jammer. Tropical Mechanica back into the fray and into a tripod of Minnesota blockers with a brace. Or a bridge, whatever we need. Texecutioners through on the inside, picking up 4 points for Minnesota. Tropical Mechanica through the pack on her initial. Texecutioner through the pack for more points. How many? 4. And the call off.
Excellent timing there by Lexi and the coaching staff of Minnesota, getting that 4-0 pass by the skin of their teeth is the old expression.
That is an old one, but a good one. Anaconda on the line taking on Haas the Boss.
We'll notice that Anaconda's number 110 is exactly double the number of Haas's 55. We'll see if that portends anything for the scoring of this jam. Probably not. That's not how math works.
No, Haas the Boss took lead jammer on that one with an apex jump. Anaconda threw the pack on the initial. Haas the Boss with a spin move and a call off. 4 points for Haas. No points for Minnesota. Lefsa for Dead up for Minnesota, taking on Texas's very own Mayhem West. Someone's picking up a track call. It's Lefsa. Leaves Mayhem West with a power jam. Mayhem West recycling behind the pack. Mayhem West cycling a little bit back again. Had to go out just a little. Mayhem West cycling behind number 82, Brutal. They may have a power jam, but that Minnesota blocker line is not making it easy.
Yeah, it's remarkable how 8 blockers can take up so much space on the track, and even just 1 or 2 of them in the penalty box really can open things up.
Absolutely. You are 100% correct on that one. Mayhem West cycling back again. Tries another seam. Lefts the 4 Dead out of the box and through the pack on the initial. No lead has been declared. We have 40 seconds left in this jam.
Wow.
No lead still declared as impact that is not impact play.
Big, excellent hit there by Peace War on Lefsa for Dead, forcing the recycle of the Minnesota.
Mayhem West not lead jammer because the star was stashed when they made it through. 4 points going up for Mayhem West.
Yep, the points are just as good whether or not you're the lead jammer.
That's true, but it's going to be a 2-minute jam whether you like it or not.
That is also true.
Lefsa for Dead pushing on Peace War. 4 points up for Lefsa for Dead. Three final points there for Texas. Total is now 43-37 in favor of Minnesota. That is some spitting distance if I ever heard it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Spite, have you eaten Lefsa, the actual food product?
I do not even know what that is.
Okay, I will explain it to you later. It is a Norwegian potato pancakey thing. Okay. It's really a vehicle for sugar. It's delicious.
Oh, okay.
I'll make you some this winter.
Ooh! Jamming for Minnesota, we have got... Oh my goodness, I can't read.
Texecutioner. Yep.
Texecutioner picking up lead jammer. Jamming for Texas, we have got impact play.
And we've got a star pass already to Texas pivot number 93, Tricks. So now they have a star.
Texecutioner calling off the jam with 2 points on the board. Texas held scoreless. How often do you get to say that? Haas the Boss jamming once more for Texas, taking on
Centripetal Force.
Centripetal Force.
Sorry, I was ready. I was just getting ready to zone out there, Spite.
Oh, I can't let you do that.
It's too early. You're the one that should be zoning out. You've been here all day.
I've been here all day. This has been some great derby action. Peace War in that pod once more against Centripetal Force. Centripetal Force using the force to take lead jammer. KTX out of the box and back to the pack. Haas the Boss going to the outside, to the inside, to the outside. But dare I say it? I dare not. KTX headed back to the penalty box. 4 points go up for Centripetal Force. Four more points there for Centripetal Force. Haas the Boss doing a great job of trying to get the Minnesota pod apart.
Yeah.
And the Minnesota pod doing a great job of holding themselves together.
Right. Absolutely. Oh. And now we've got the Star Pass, and Texas has a jammer free that is
Olivia shooting John. I'm sorry, that's not Olivia. That's 9 lives.
9 lives. Number 9, 9 lives.
Number 9, 9 lives.
It would be very frustrating for us if 9 lives had a different number.
It would.
But it's a great number.
It's a great number.
But the jam was over before any points were scored.
Yep.
So Minnesota building up a little bit of a lead for the first time in this game, 61-37 with 11 minutes left in this first half.
Chipachooth once more on the line for Minnesota up against, that is Tropical Mechanica.
I watched a little bit of Derby last night while I was working on my homily for a funeral, and I did see Tropical Mechanica skate a jam a couple times then. So there's one name I'm familiar with. Woo-hoo.
And it's Tropica. Chipachooth into the back of the pack. Star Pass. This time, indeed, Olivia shooting John. No points for Texas on that jam.
4 points. Ooh.
Full complement of 4 points for Minnesota. Texas has been held scoreless for 3 jams thus far. Impact play rolling up to the line for the Texies. And that's Anaconda for Minnesota. A little bit of shirt whip action happening in the pack for impact play.
Each jammer facing some very solid blocker walls at the moment.
Today has been the blocker special.
And Anaconda manages to sneak through on the inside line, tiptoeing.
Star Pass Texas to Peace War.
And Anaconda calls it off as Peace War is approaching, but that's a 0-0 jam. So good job by the Texas defenders.
Absolutely good defense on that one from both blocking squads. Yeah, double donuts for the first time this game. And that's the first time in 4 jams that Minnesota has been held scoreless.
I do enjoy a hard-fought 0-0 jam.
Oh, yes. Now for double numbers, 55 Haas the Boss versus 333. Our very own Levsa for Dead.
Yep.
Haas the Boss being called on a forearm call. Leaves Levsa for Dead in a power jam as Levsa gets declared lead jammer. Levsa gets the signal, go ahead and run it. Olivia shooting John Olivia shooting John picking up a penalty. 4 points for Levsa for Dead.
Lefty gets a little help from the offensive blockers to sneak through to the inside for those 4 points. And now we've got jammer on jammer. Not enough of that.
Lefsa for dead goes out of bounds. Haas goes to pull Lefsa back. Lefsa says, no, thank you, I'm done. No points on that pass for Lefsa for dead. Haas the boss held scoreless. Tropica Mechanica on the line for Texas. I believe that is Texecutioner.
Indeed.
Tropical Mechanica being pulled all the way back behind the jam line. Texecutioner fighting hard at the head of the pack in turn 1. A little bit of O being played there in the head of the pack.
Lead.
Go ahead.
Okay. Lead jammer is Lexi from Minnesota.
That is 6 in a row for Minnesota.
Wow. 6 in a row. Thank you, Rainbow Spite, for keeping stats for us. That is heroic work on your part.
I do what I can, and I can what I do. No points on the last pass, but that puts Tropica Mechanica held scoreless once more. And 4 points went up total for Minnesota, bringing the total to 77 to 37 in favor of Minnesota.
So after lead change early on, Minnesota's now up to having doubled Texas' score. And we'll see if they can maintain that momentum through the end of this first half.
Let's see. Centripetal force jamming for Minnesota. That is Mayhem West once more for Texas Rollergirls. Centripetal force at the back of the pack. Whistles raining down, and it looks like a Minnesota blocker headed to the penalty box.
Yep, that's Dougie to the box for Minnesota.
Mayhem West cycling way back almost to the pivot line. We have a lead jammer, and it's Minnesota's very own Centripetal force. Star pass to Olivia Shootin' John for the Texies. Centripetal force with the call off. Before the whistles blew, there were 3 points scored. Once more, Texas held scoreless.
I'm pretty sure Chip was just fangirling about her opponent on the jam line.
I would too. I mean, Haas is a legend. Olivia Shootin' John, also legend. I would die.
Yeah.
I would just die.
That's fantastic. I love to see it.
I love it. Haas the boss jamming for Texas. Chip a tooth from Minnesota. Haas the boss at the head of the pack. Chip at the rear.
Yep, Texas had a real solid wall until Dougie came out of the penalty box and was able to spring Chip free. However, it is going to be Haas the boss is lead for Texas.
Chip a tooth putting on the afterburners. Four points go up for the Texecutioners. Waiting for the blue. 1 point for the blue. Tropical Mechanica wearing the star once more for the Texecutioners.
And Anaconda doing the same for Minnesota. One Minnesota blocker in the box to start the jam.
Oh, neat little juke on the inside line there by Tropica Mechanica. It was a hop, but kind of not. But Tropica Mechanica picks up lead jammer.
And then a fantastic block there by Peace War, forcing the recycle of Minnesota's blocker.
Tropical Mechanica getting put to the inside. Tropical Mechanica headed to the box for a forearm call. Leaves Anaconda with that power jam. Anaconda still working on the initial. Peace War doing yeoman service on the blocking.
Absolutely.
We've got a star pass to Mad Libs. Mad Libs now jammer of record for Minnesota. Mad Libs running straight into Peace War. KTX getting taken out to the inside. 4 points go up for Mad Libs.
Well, the hometown fans love that. You don't get to see a lot of Mad Libs jams, even in home bouts.
Tropical Mechanica through the pack for 4 points. When did she get back? I don't know, 10 seconds ago, but she took advantage of it. Libs stuck in a pod of black jerseys. I see KTX. I see Peace War in there. I also see 9 Lives. Tropical Mechanica playing in the back pod. Bridge work being done there by 9 Lives.
Ugh. Blockers, blockers, blockers.
Direction of gameplay being called on somebody. 4 points go up for Tropical Mechanica. 3 points up for Minnesota on that pass. It's a total of 7 for the jam.
Only a minute and a half left on the period clock in this first half. We do see Haas the Boss and Lefse for Dead in their respective jam lines. One Texas blocker in the penalty box is KTX.
I'm appreciating the cheering being done by the Red Stick Roller Derby team.
Yeah.
I love that. Haas the Boss getting hauled way back behind Prim Reaper. Prim Reaper once again on the takeout for Haas the Boss. Lefse for Dead fighting hard at the front. Haas the Boss on the inside through the pack for lead jammer. That's finally 3 in a row for Texas.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, fantastic footwork there for Haas as well on the inside, really tiptoeing on that line.
She's graceful.
Graceful.
She is style. She is grace. She will skate up in your face. I just made that up.
Love it. 1-0 is that score on that jam.
That's a lot of work for 1 point.
It was a lot of work for 1 point. That's true. But when you're down, every point's going to help, and there's a lot of derby left to be skated.
That is absolutely true.
There will be one more jam in this half, and it'd be very difficult to get lead, call it off in time for another jam.
True story. Texecutioners jamming against Tropical Mechanica. Nice block by Peace War.
Little offensive block there by Bizquick for Minnesota, but it's not quite enough to spring the jammer.
Bizquick playing oh. Peace War saying oh no.
This is some high intensity physical bonus derby here.
Oh my goodness. It is the story of the blockers on the track right now. Got 9 lives bracing that Texecutioners pack. They've got to let her go. Lead jammer goes to Minnesota. Texecutioner got to catch her breath to come into the back of the pack once more. There it is. 4 points up for Texecutioner.
These jammers are going to appreciate the halftime break. I can promise you that.
Speaking of jammers, I see Peace War with a star on the helmet, which means there was a star pass in the Texecutioners lineup.
Wow. Huge hit there by Peace War, knocking down Bizquick with a shoulder.
No whistles blown, would have been illegal. Peace War cycling to the rear of the pack. Texecutioner got to get past 9 lives. Texecutioner with the call off. 4 more points for Lexi on that pass.
Just an excellent first half of derby here between Minnesota Roller Derby All-Stars and Texas Rollergirls Texecutioners here at the Hopkins Pavilion in beautiful Hopkins, Minnesota.
We will see everybody back in about 10 minutes for intermission.
In the meantime, y'all have a nice day.
At the Lolo. Panic at the Lolo. Our ref, Panic at the Lolo. Give us a wave. Panic at the Lolo. Panic. Wave. Panic. Lolo. Wave. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Thank you for spending it with us.
See, the announcers do the happy birthdays because they can't send us to the penalty box.
That's true. We can get kicked out of the venue.
We can't, but I've never said anything that offensive.
Well, lucky you.
Oh, lucky me.
I have no comment on whether or not I've done that.
I hear a story time coming.
La la la. Lexecutor at the line. Hoss the boss at the line. Nobody in the penalty box. Roller derby is set to begin.
Roller derby is set to begin. Everybody's ready to go. And nobody moved.
Yeah. Everybody just tensed up their muscles real strong.
Real strong. I can see real strong Hoss the boss pushing way hard in that one seam. Lexecutor doing the same on the opposite side. Ooh, both jammers out to the outside. Who's going to cycle back the fastest?
Well, Minnesota's Prim Reaper did get sent to the penalty box.
Yep, that was a no-no. Hoss the boss takes lead jammer. Lexecutor clear on the initial. Hoss the boss jumps over a blocker. 4 points up for Hoss the boss. Centripetal force jamming for Minnesota. That is Tropical Mechanica for Texas. I'm wondering sometimes if in Tropical Mechanica's name, is there an accent I'm missing or something to make it fancy?
Fancy.
Speaking of fancy, Tropical Mechanica makes lead jammer.
Well, Texas has got to like this start to the second half. A couple of quick 4-0 jams. You just reestablish your offensive presence. You reestablish your defense for the blocking and holding the other team down. You don't need to have a 15 or 20-point jam to get back in it. You just need to start building and taking step by step.
Exactly. Also, right after halftime, come back a little refreshed, having talked about strategy potentially.
Yep.
This is what we're doing. This is what's working. Chip a tooth on the line for Texas. That is Mayhem West for Texas.
Brutal forces Mayhem to recycle. But then Mayhem finds an inside line and gets through and gets lead jammer.
3 in a row for Texas.
I believe that the jammer cover was on the ground a bit for Chip.
That is
seemed
true.
to throw things off just enough to somehow free Chip up out of the pack.
Mayhem West getting signals from the sideline. Chippewa also out to score. Chip at the head of the pack. Chip through the pack for 4 points. And the call off.
So 100-64, the listed score in favor of Minnesota.
Hitting the century mark is another old-fashioned time to take a sip of your beverage.
Indeed. And we've got my favorite mathematical combination of jammers on the line. Anaconda, number 110 for Minnesota. And, of course, Hoss the Boss, number 55 for Texas. And this time it's going to be Anaconda bruising through on the inside and keeping inbounds to get lead. And the star pass for Texas
to Peace War.
Anaconda calls off that jam. No points scored for either jammer, so great job by Texas defense. Anaconda pushed to the inside, had to call that one off, so great job there by Peace War racing around the track to force that. Got an official timeout, I believe.
Official timeout. Now's the time where I'd normally do an ad read, but instead of having an ad read, we have penalties. Taking a look at the penalty board, we've got no one in any danger of fouling out. It's been a relatively clean game.
So Hoss the Boss was sent to the penalty box after that jam was over, is not serving as a jammer because had passed the star.
Had passed the star. Advantageous accidentally even. Tropical Mechanica now jamming for Texas. We've got Lucifer Dead for Minnesota. Lucifer Dead cycling back behind KTX. KTX pulling back well behind the jammer line. Once more, Tropical Mechanica cycling well behind number 69, a Mandalorian. Not a name I've gotten to say before, so now I have.
That's right.
Prim Reaper taking a seat in the penalty box. Leaves Texas at a blocker advantage. Tropical Mechanica still pushing hard against a brace tripod. Hoss the Boss trying to play some offense. Lucifer Dead getting knocked out there by Olivia shooting John. We're a minute into this jam, no lead jammer.
Oof. They're going to have to earn it, and they do. Texas lead. That is Tropical Mechanica.
Tropical Mechanica getting pushed to the inside line there by Brutal. Hoss the Boss pulling it. Oh, goodness. Lucifer Dead all the way back behind the jam line. 10 feet behind the jam line. This is kind of a tight pods, spread out pack situation. We got a bridge in the middle. Tropical Mechanica goes out to the inside, pulling back behind Poison Berry Pie. 3 points up, I see, for Tropical Mechanica.
That was a hard-earned 3 points for sure.
Oh, my goodness. Lucifer Dead, held scoreless.
So Minnesota's lead at 33 currently, as Texas sends impact play back to the jam line to look to continue cutting into that Minnesota lead, and Minnesota will counter with, of course, Texecutioner.
Impact play trying the outside line, finding it not to the liking, trying the inside, also finding some resistance. That's an understatement.
Yeah, finding some resistance is a great thing to say in this one.
Texecutioner picking up lead jammer for Minnesota. Peace War taking a seat in the penalty box. Four points go up for Texecutioner.
This could be the jam that stems the tide of Texas's strong.
Recovery?
I forgot the word I was looking for.
Recovery?
Recovery. Yeah, recovery is a good word for it. Absolutely. I was going to go with momentum.
Momentum,
but I wasn't going to think of that until you said another good word.
Yeah, they're both good words. I like them both. Texecutioner still pushing hard and putting up points. Impact play still not clear off the initial. That's some yeoman's blocking done there.
Peace War back out of the penalty box and got the star pass. I suspect that pass would have happened earlier if the pivot had not been in the penalty box.
You know, I suspect the same is true. You're right. No points for Texas on that, though. 12 points there for Texecutioner. We're looking at 12 points being the highest, tied for the highest scoring jam of the game.
That makes a lot of sense given all the defense we've seen over and over again. Haas the Boss and Centripetal Force to the jam line for their respective squads. One Texas blocker in the penalty box.
Haas the Boss trying a different tack, seeing as the first wasn't working. Ladies and thembies, that is a trike cut and a power jam for Haas the Boss. And a blocker disadvantage to Minnesota as Mandalorian takes a seat in the penalty box. Haas the Boss not signaled lead. Well, is she?
No, yeah. Haas is not lead.
Not lead. So this will go the full 2 minutes. 4 points for Haas. Centripetal Force at the head of the pack. Haas the Boss around the outside. Nope, Haas the Boss headed to the penalty box. Forearm call. Centripetal Force through on the initial.
And suddenly Texas has filled the penalty box. Well,
ouch. And this is one of those places where penalties can make the biggest difference as 4 points go up for Centripetal Force. Four more points for Centripetal Force. Centripetal, go ahead.
Luckily for Texas, this being a 2-minute jam, Minnesota had no opportunity to call it off and maintain that penalty box lead into another jam. So Centripetal Force did score some points.
Centripetal Force, in fact, has got the highest scoring jam of the game with 15 points. Why am I yelling? Haas the Boss did score 4 points on that pass. Tropical Mechanica on the line for Texas. Oh, 4 whistles. Official timeout. So while we wait for this official timeout to be shaken out, we've got Chip a Tooth up for Minnesota. Tropical Mechanica up for Texas. This is going to be fun.
This is going to be fun. We've got empty penalty box for the moment.
For the moment. Blockers, I see KTX. I see Peace War. I'm picking out numbers here as we go. Sideline cheering. We hear the famous T2K3.
Fun times.
Fun times. Mad Libs getting strategy from Chip a Tooth. They're just conferring while they can. I'm assuming they could have just been talking about what's for dinner, but you know, it sounds nicer if they're talking strategy.
I bet they were talking derby in that one.
You see Mad Libs setting up in between the blockers there. Mad Libs going to work the...
Right.
Oh. KTX cycling back to the back of the pack, being put out by Mad Libs. And it's Chip a Tooth out in front.
It does seem possible that Mad Libs may have been able to keep Texas from initially starting their defense the way they wanted to, and that may have been what set Chip free.
It may have, and I'd be willing to say that's probably definitely the case. If it messes with your head gets out of space, and
Right.
your strategy goes out the window.
Right.
4 points for Chip. Tropical Mechanica still working on that initial. Tropical Mechanica had put Chip a Tooth out. Chip's following Tropical. All right, he'll see how far this is going to go. And that's as far as it went, all the way into turn 3.
That was fun.
Tropical Mechanica got put out by Mad Libs. Chip a Tooth got put out there by, was it Peace War or KTX? I did not see. And Tropical Mechanica with the star stash just threw on the initial. Direction being called on a Minnesota blocker. 3 points up for Chip on that last pass. No points for Tropical Mechanica.
I appreciate how Chip likes to keep it light on the track. A big smile. I'm
big
just going to
smile.
call it off now. Well, this is nice. I don't have to
Yes.
work anymore. Time to rest.
You know, Chip jams like she announces. It's just happy time.
Yeah, exactly.
Chip's a lot of fun, and I love it.
That's true. That's true.
Your favorite mathematical pairing here, Haas the Boss,
Well, thanks. I hadn't noticed. That's exciting.
Anaconda. Anaconda once more takes lead jammer. The last time these two paired up, it came out the same way. Haas the Boss has passed the star. Olivia shooting John, now jammer of record for Texas. And the call off there by Anaconda. 4 points for Minnesota.
And 3 points for Texas as the officials conferred to make sure they got that number right. So great job there by Texas Jammer getting those 3 points.
Spread eagle jamming for Texas. That is Texecutioner for Minnesota. Spread eagle takes lead jammer. That's the first time in a while Texas has gotten lead jammer.
Yeah. Well, I like their plan of it's not the first time Spread Eagle has jammed, but hasn't been jamming like every third like some of them have.
Correct. Star pass to Mad Libs. Spread Eagle calls it off after putting up the points.
Spread Eagle literally almost did Spread Eagle standing on one skate, hopping on one skate, falling out of play. I hope somebody got a photo of that. That was lovely. Like while calling off the jam, hopping on one skate, Spread Eagle.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Great
talent.
job.
That's multitasking.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I can't math. Tropical Mechanica jamming once more for Texas. Centripetal Force for Minnesota. And it's Tropical Mechanica picking up lead for Texas. Tropical Mechanica being pulled back further, out of play. Gonna have to let her back in. Ooh, Tropical Mechanica with the big hit and clears it for 4 points. Centripetal force on the tiptoes on the inside line, gets taken out by Olivia Shootin' John. 4 points go up for Tropical Mechanica.
Excellent jam here for Texas. That defense has been relentless. And the offense spectacular.
Minnesota held scoreless that jam. Meanwhile, Tropical Mechanica puts up 12 points, which is Texas's highest scoring jam of the game. Okay, I counted 12. That must be what they're talking about at the table.
Right.
I could be wrong. I'm allowed to be wrong.
You are allowed to be wrong. Absolutely.
But I'll be the first to admit it when I'm wrong. There it is, 12 points, brings Texas Rollergirls to 90.
I did notice the scoreboard had a different jammer name on it, so that's just a little bit confusing as well, but I don't think that affects the scoring in any way, so it shouldn't be a problem. But that jammer was Tropical Mechanica for Texas, who scored all those points.
Yes, that was Texas's highest scoring jam of the game. Haas the Boss jamming for Texas. Got Chip a Tooth up there for Minnesota. Haas the Boss takes lead jammer. That's 3 in a row lead jammer for Texas.
Looks like Minnesota tried the quick star pass, so it's Mad Libs with the jammer star this time, but held up by a strong contingent of Texas blockers.
Whoa, Haas the Boss with the ballet and 4 points.
Haas the Boss living up to that reputation for sure in this jam.
Fierce jamming there by Haas the Boss through the pack. 4 more points.
Slipping to the inside and avoiding Chipatooth's block and getting those points by Haas was so impressive. And now we've got a power jam.
Mad Libs headed to the penalty box. 4 more points for Haas the Boss. Haas must not have liked me telling Tropical Mechanica that was the highest scoring jam, because now Haas has tied it. There's the call off. Is that 2 more points? That is 2 more points for Haas the Boss. Haas tops the Texas record for the highest scoring and gets Texas over the century mark. Highest scoring jam of the game is still up for grabs because it still sits with Minnesota.
That's right. And let's see, we've got a timeout
called by Minnesota.
Understandable, as their pivot from the previous jam, who became the jammer, then gets stuck in the box and will begin this one as a jammer, that being Mad Libs.
Yes.
So not necessarily plan A for how Minnesota wants to start this jam, and so they're going to take a moment to make sure they know what the plan is going to be.
Get that strategy solidified.
That's right.
Because a Libs jam is very different than a, say, centripetal force jam.
That's right. That's right.
Actually,
and I did notice that Minnesota's bench also changed up the jammer rotation for the upcoming jams in response to this.
So it'd be interesting to see how that changes our matchups. Big thank you once more to our track maintenance crew. Thank you for keeping us safe out there. So as everyone gets back into position after that timeout, we've got Tropical Mechanica wearing the star for Texas. Mad Libs in the box with so Tropical Mechanica leaves Texas with the power start.
Minnesota does have the 4-3 blocker advantage to start this one off.
Let's see how it shakes out. Tropical Mechanica takes lead jammer, 4th in a row for Texas. We now have a full blocker contingent on the floor. That is 80 wheels on the track now with an empty penalty box. Libs goes to the outside.
And now Minnesota's pivot, I think that is indeed Poisonberry Pie, headed to the box, which means that Mad Libs will not have the opportunity to pass the star.
If that was the strategy. Mad Libs through the pack, not lead jammer, but the jammer currently moving anyway. She's eligible to score points.
And at least getting onto that scoring pass allowed Mad Libs to force Texas to call off that jam. Now Minnesota is going to send Texecutioner back to the jam line. Has been a streak stopper before for Minnesota. Last time Texas was on a big run of jam after jam, Lexi came in, scored a quick 12-point jam, and really changed the momentum, which is the word I couldn't think of that time.
There we go. I will say that Huss the Boss might have a repost for that. We'll see if Huss the Boss can keep that record going.
Yeah, that is certainly a possibility. And indeed, Haas, an outside-in move, quickly lead jam for Texas. But now Haas sent to the penalty box. This becomes a power jam for Texecutioner.
Those forearms are killing tonight. Texecutioner putting 4 points up for Minnesota.
So just when it looked like Texas was going to be able to avoid a change in momentum, Haas goes to the box, and now everything is up in the air. Great job by Texas blocker forcing Lexi to recycle.
What a long drawback.
Airing grievances.
Yes.
Texas defense still holding strong here against Lexi, a very accomplished jammer.
Haas the Boss back on track. The penalty box is currently empty. Bridge work being done by Dougie and Peace War. Not like it needs it right now, but O is also being done by those two.
Now we've had the star pass to Peace War. So that's smart in a 2-minute jam.
4 points go up for Lexi. Still no points scored on Texas side. Lexi goes down but stays in bounds. Lexi with 2 to beat at the top, 3 to beat now. Texecutioner headed to the penalty box. High block call. 2 points up for Texas on that jam. Total of 11 points for Texecutioner.
So once again, Texas with a power start. And they're going to let Spread Eagle be the one to take advantage of that. Spread Eagle's last jamming was very successful off the jump. So we'll see if that can be replicated.
Spread Eagle playing all weekend for Texas, also playing for the Chainsaws. So I've gotten to see Spread Eagle play throughout the past 2 days, and very impressed with Spread Eagle. Legendary written all over her helmet as well.
Absolutely.
Spread Eagle getting pulled back behind Killer Bee. Spread Eagle taking lead jammer for Texas. That's 6 in a row for Texas now.
So the Minnesota blockers tried to make Spread Eagle recycle all the way back, but they didn't have the outside line, so Spread Eagle was able to get inside and go right in front of them and get that lead. So very
effective.
Very smart. Yeah, effective. Absolutely. Jamming there.
Texecutioner back on track. Penalty box is empty. Texecutioner to the outside line. Texecutioner getting past KTX, and Texecutioner through on the initial. There's the call off. Elemental hugging Spread Eagle. But nobody fell down.
It's nice to get a hug sometimes.
Is.
With consent.
With consent. And sometimes, you know, when it's derby and you don't necessarily have time to consent, but there you are.
Right. Anaconda back to the jam line for the math start, lining up against Haas the Boss.
Ooh, here we go again.
Anaconda essentially missed a turn in the jammer rotation there because of all the jammer penalties by Minnesota. So we'll see if that extra time is able to give help catch her breath.
Yes, get some more energy back in them legs. Haas the Boss stays in bounds.
Maybe.
Nope, stayed in bounds but picked up the forearm call. Leaves lead still open. Lead goes to Minnesota. Thus ends the dry streak.
Under 5 minutes left on the period clock, so Texas's momentum through this second half, impressive, but it's going to have to really continue and even accelerate in order to come back and win this one.
Anaconda through the Anaconda, 4 points, yes.
Minnesota forming up their defense as Haas gets back on the track. Haas doing some great defensive jamming there on Anaconda for a moment.
Now it's another track cut call being assessed on Mad Libs. And the call off by Anaconda. 3 points go up for Minnesota. Brings us to 156 to Texas's 114. Okay. Centripetal Force on the line up against Tropical Mechanica. We've seen this pairing before. It's never shaken out the same way twice. The Tropical Mechanica seems to have a fire under her wheels right now.
I agree with that assessment for sure.
And there she goes, Tropical Mechanica picking up lead jammer. Minnesota blocker headed to the penalty box. Tropical Mechanica getting pulled back behind Brutal. Once more, Tropical Mechanica being pulled back behind Brutal. Brutal putting Tropical Mechanica toward the outside line. But the real story is at the front of the pack right now with Centripetal Force on that tripod.
Fascinating difference between the two teams' defenses over that stretch.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Centripetal Force just getting beaten up in the front. Boom, 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 boom.
The hits keep coming.
Yeah, that's right. Whereas the Texas Jammer in the back, just when you thought you made it.
Olivia Shootin' John takes Centripetal Force out. Olivia Shootin' John going to pull her back, way back.
Incredible.
That's what I call some good derby.
Yeah.
I do like watching these high-level teams go at it. It's a different experience.
It really is wonderful. So 4 points on that pass, a hard-earned 4 points
for
Texas, but boy, Minnesota, the way the clock is dwindling here, the clock is on Minnesota's side for sure.
Tropical Mechanica put up 5 total points on that jam.
So 156, 118, the listed score with 1 minute and 30 left on the period clock.
Yep.
It's going to be about 1 minute 15 when this jam begins. And Chip is just excited to see Haas the Boss out there again.
Official review.
Official review.
Official review has been called.
And that was by Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Okay.
I'm interested to see how this is going to play out.
Yeah. exclusive concert-only CD. So excited. Very sweet. Very sweet. Yeah, that's right. That was a lot of fun too. All right, looks like our referees have sorted out the difference there, and I'm just going to guess, based on the look on Minnesota coach's face, that the official challenge was unsuccessful.
If we're lucky, they'll come and tell us.
Ah.
We got Haas, we got Chip, we got Jeremy. Let's go.
Empty penalty boxes to start this one off. That minute and 15 left on the period clock.
In what could be the last jam of the game. Could be the penultimate jam of the game. Here we go.
Thank you. No problem. Okay, so we did get the word on that official review. Minnesota was challenging that the black jammer on the previous jam had blocked a skater who was down. The refs did not agree with that assessment, and so the review was unsuccessful, as we suspected. So Chipatooth is your lead jammer for Minnesota.
Star pass on Texas's side to Olivia shooting John. 4 points for Chipatooth. This will be the last jam of the game, I believe.
So the star pass to Olivia shooting John for Texas. But Chip does get through for another 4 points as the period clock dwindles. And Chip's going to wait and not call this one off quite yet. Until now.
Till now.
Sneaking in 2 more points on that last jam to pad the lead. Minnesota's victory.
166 to 123, the unofficial score. Very excited. I got to see 2 world-class teams play today.
That's incredible.
And it's not every day we get to say that.
No, that was great.
That was a fantastic game by both teams. I'm very pleased. I love seeing a world-class derby.
Oh, yeah. Minnesota is excited. They're waiting on the final official of that score, and there it is.
Thank you, Beef Chief, for the rolling whistle. Thank you to our officials for taking care of us this game. High fives and hand grenades from the Minnesota roller derby team. Maybe just high fives and no hand grenades.
Excellent to see this world-class derby happening right here at the Have a Nice Day tournament in lovely Hopkins, Minnesota. Thank you for joining us here in-house. Thank you to all of those watching at home as Texas takes a lap.
A well-earned lap of honor.
Well-earned is right. And it looks like we will see you again in about, almost 40 minutes?
About 40 minutes.
About 40 minutes for our next bout featuring the Minnesota Nice versus North Star Roller Derby. That's going to be a whole lot of fun.
That's going to be a lot of fun. I won't be here. Thank you for a great day. Have a nice day. It's been a joy announcing with you once more, Reverend Killjoy.
I'll miss you already, Spike.
Woo! I'll see you tomorrow.
Go home and get some supper.
Yes.
Okay.